You are probably exhausted right now, not because your life is impossibly heavy, but because you have completely forgotten how to set it down. Looking at this animated silhouette of a glass, you might guess its weight, just like the students in a famous classroom experiment. 50 grams, 100 grams, maybe 125. The professor holding the glass smiled and told them the absolute weight didn't actually matter. The only thing that mattered was how long he held it. If he holds it for a minute, nothing happens. If he holds it for an hour, his arm starts to ache. If he holds it for a whole day, his arm goes numb and he ends up in real medical trouble. Throughout that entire day, the actual weight of the glass remained exactly the same. The pain didn't come from the glass itself. It came from the absolute refusal to put it down. And that is exactly how your mental stress operates. Everyday problems feel entirely manageable when they first show up. But when you teary them in your mind all day and refuse to let them go when you try to sleep, they stop acting like problems and mutate into permanent burdens. Look at this person sitting in the dark as time passes. This is the exact state right before total burnout hits. It happens when you lose the ability to distinguish between actively thinking about a challenge and carrying it as a permanent fixture in your mind. The physical events of the day aren't what actually break you down. What destroys your energy is the garbage you keep rehearsing in your head long after the actual event has ended. Finding tranquility does not mean you suddenly have zero problems to deal with. It means you have finally developed the discipline required to simply drop them. So why do you keep gripping these thoughts? When a problem is solved, or when there's nothing more you can do for the day, holding onto it becomes a full-time mental occupation rather than a necessity. This diagram illustrates what happens inside an undisciplined mind. You take one solid, manageable problem, and instead of solving it, you splinter it into a chaotic web of what-ifs. You dramatize it, replay it on a loop, and eventually build a cage out of it, turning your anxiety into a core part of who you are. Labeling oneself a deep thinker is often a convenient mask for a simple lack of mental discipline. An exhausted person feels worn out because they refuse to shut the door on yesterday. A disciplined person faces the exact same difficulties, but they process the events, extract the lesson, and release the emotional weight. To receive any form of relief, the mind must first be a vacant container. If a hand is already full, it cannot reach out to grab anything new, even peace. This mechanical requirement for mental space is why the command on this poster is so absolute. Put the glass down. It aligns with the logic of the Holy Quran, chapter 48, verse 4, which describes tranquility as something sent down into the hearts of believers, a process that requires an open, receptive heart. Tranquility lacks the space to settle in a mind that is currently busy clenching its own pain like a trophy. True faith is the practical decision to surrender the outcomes you can't control and dropping the weight you were never meant to carry through the night. Mental discipline is the how of faith, the logical process that finally gives your heart permission to trust. To stop the chronic worry, you need a strict, 3-step logical framework designed to force that mental discipline into your daily routine. Step 1 is analysis. As this animation shows, you start the clock and acknowledge your problem logically, but you set a strict, non-negotiable time limit on how long you are allowed to think about it before hanging up the closed sign. Step 2 is the audit. Every single night, before you try to sleep, you ask yourself, what am I still carrying right now that I should have put down 3 hours ago? Step 3 is the release. You explicitly pray, hand the uncontrollable variables over to God, and physically shut the door on the day's events. This intentional release preserves your physical and mental strength, ensuring you have the energy required to actually solve the problem tomorrow morning. Dragging your stress through the night doesn't make you a stronger, more resilient person. It simply makes you slower, weaker, and incredibly easy to break. Real peace arrives when you accept that you cannot solve everything in a single day, and you finally learn exactly when to surrender the weight. This entire framework of mental surrender comes from Sohail Ahmed, a 2-time LinkedIn top voice, and the mindset coach behind the Mentor My Way philosophy. He has spent over a decade helping readers and leaders across 150 different countries align their inner purpose with their outward performance. To build your own mental discipline, you can subscribe to his newsletter, The Confidence Compass, for ongoing practical training. And if you run an organization, you can bring this mindset directly to your team by booking Sohail for a seminar to transform your corporate culture from the inside out. So tonight, do yourself a favor. Put the glass down, share this story with one person who needs to hear it, and subscribe for more insights on how to master your mind.